Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Rasko and Disco Beer Review would like to announce that the hype train, or is this the non-hype train, is once again departing 1 year and 1 day late. So grab a beer, jump aboard as a disco goes mild in May. Yes. Evening all, Rasko and Disco Beer Review with me, Disco, coming at you with another live show in front of the cans and bottles here on the bar that I am mildly calling the Disco Arms and have been for some time. This is a show that should have happened last year if I'd got round to it, but for creative irregularities and general incompetence. But yes, this is a new live show, part 4, another Bash the Stash style show, where I dig into the stash of beers I should have done a long time ago. This one's called A Disco Goes Mild, because it is a mild May. We all have a little bit of alliteration, don't we? And in mild May, I don't ever normally get around to doing milds. I had something last year, didn't get around to them. I've got 5 beers today. As you might have seen from the thumbnail, 5 beers from Boxcar Brewery over in North London. A brewery that I have no idea if they're still around. Haven't really done a lot on social media. I know they went into some kind of administration around about this time last year. I probably should have done these beers then. I know the plan was to go cuckoo brewing at other London breweries or elsewhere. I'm not entirely sure. But I had these beers in and I just sort of never got around to them. I wanted to do them kind of all together, but I was struggling sort of at the time of doing one video, let alone 5 beers in a video, and I wasn't really doing lives last year. Anyway, they're probably, I don't know if they're kind of hype beers. They're sort of, at least one of them is iconic-ish, I guess, the Dark Mild. I think that's the first one I kind of saw. That can's got a bit bashed up in the delivery. Got 4 of these from Ghost Whale over in, I think, South London. Alongside that, there is Double Dark Mild, which takes that up a little bit on the percentage. That one's, what's it, 3.6, I think. That one's knocking on 6. And then there's the Triple Dark Mild at 9%. Trying to work out which way to do these, and do I go up or do I go down the scale? Because another one I picked up the other side of London, can't see that so well on these otherwise excellent cans, is the Light Mild English Golden Ale, also at 3.8%. And just for kicks, because it kind of completes the set, it's a collab with Mash Game. Mash Game, as you know, specialise in 0% alcohol or 0.5% beers. So, well, I'll put that one in for a bit of a laugh. Now, yes, I know. Here we go again. You're saying, what the hell are you doing drinking beers that are a year old and probably past the nominal best before date? Well, yes, that is true. But as I say, I just didn't quite get around to it. And I've got far too many beers in the stash. I haven't got a video for you of that this week. I was going to do it each time. But if you saw the video last week on the live, you see I've got far too many beers in the stash and just never got around to them. So I've come up with this Bash the Stash style series of lives. And thank you everybody for popping in. By the way, Luke John, good evening as ever. I was going to say, well, until I see the Plymouth shirt, you ain't got to worry about Plymouth this season, mate. You might not have to worry about them next season either. But yeah, I forgot to put the other shirt on. It's just, hey, bargain of the week, 15 quid, end of season sale. Didn't bother buying it at 50 at the start of the season. didn't really need to use it that much. Drink 3 and keep 1 for nostalgia purposes. Well, this is the trouble. This is something I've got to talk about because I've got a few beers in there that I sort of like. I don't want to do because like I've got 1 shot. I've only got singles of all of these. That reminds me, everybody looking, and don't forget, remind me in the comments to take the photographs of them. Save me having to screenshot in this bad light. So that's what I use for nostalgia. As long as Instagram stays alive, and then in the morning, hopefully, if I take the photographs, I'll put them all up on Instagram and do the reviews from whatever comments I've got here so that I can remember them. Mersey Beers, good evening. Thanks for popping in as well. I was told there was some footing ball on tonight, but there's no football until Saturday, in my opinion. So thanks for popping over. Double and triple miles are made up styles. That's a good topic. That's a good point. I mean, I don't know. I keep saying I like miles because they're mostly darker beers, apart from that one that's golden. But yeah, I mean, it does make a bit of a nonsense, doesn't it? It's like mild you traditionally think is like certainly sub 5%, certainly under 4 probably. So to get a 6 and 9%, it is just kind of a. That's why I say the hype train, and maybe I mean more like gimmick. Is it a bit of a gimmick to have like different styles of mild? I mean, is a 0% a gimmick in a way? Yeah, I was just thinking about that going up. I would normally actually go up in ABV because I'm starting with those two. What I think I'm probably going to do though, and I've set the banners up for this already, I'm probably going to start in the middle because that's kind of like the OG one. That's the first one I saw, the dark mild. It's nice at 3.6%, and then I'll probably just go back up from there. I want to do that one first as like the main one, and being that they're a year old, and Mersey, you could probably help me out with this. I got away with it last week doing the custard beers. I got a few adjuncts in them. Again, not massively hoppy, obviously, but I got away with that. Like, I don't know what a mild will do. Again, it's a dark beer, so probably the 6 and 9% will be all right. But what will the regular stuff or the lighter stuff do over a year? And I think the golden ale was probably the one is probably not really going to work because I actually bought that before. I actually bought that back into 22, I believe. I'll have a look on the Instagram in a minute. Yeah, I'll go like the original. Okay. Normally, I would take the advice of Mersey Beers because he knows far more about this thing than me. Hence, Sarah Hughes mild. Yeah, I do remember that one. That's probably one of the few I actually can remember out and about in the wild. But not a double or triple light mild. This is a Midlands mild. So what would you call a strong mild? Would you call it something else? Is it just like a dark ale, strong dark ale or something? Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Luke. What do you think? My name is Sammy. Or did he do 12? He did 12 the other day. I only saw the back end of that, but I don't know about a case. It'll have to be something interesting. But yeah, I'm not 17 anymore, as I've said before. I keep missing my head out the top of the frame as well. That annoys me. Never mind. Yes, I think the light might be a little bit mopey, but anyway, hey ho, here goes. Let's can't fit them all in frame either. I'm going to start with the original because that's the one I want to know the most about. The others are kind of just a bit of fun in a way. So let's get the right glass. Glassware for milds. Is it going to make a lot of difference at this stage? Well, I've got 5 different glasses lined up. Well, it hasn't gone everywhere, so it's not massive lively. That's a good start, isn't it? Let's see. I always find, especially the darker beers a year on, tend to be a little bit extra on the carbs, so they go all over the place. But if I can slow that pour down nicely, that's not too bad. There's a bit of a head developing, not getting too much bubbles, fizz or carbonation, but then I suppose you wouldn't expect that. Let's put that one up the front there so that everybody can see it. I hope you can all see that. I hope you can all hear me properly as well. You're on tea because you're on the election count. Yeah, I tried to go and vote earlier and the queue was too big. So if I don't waffle on for too long, I do like to keep these an hour. I might be able to nip down the road for the last 10 minutes of it and hope it. Otherwise, I would have been much later standing in that queue, and I didn't really fancy that. David Wilson, thank you for popping in. I'm guessing this is kind of probably your thing. I love a little bit of traditional mild, as do I, don't get me wrong. But then a turning point glass from last week. It's dissipating fairly quickly. Nose is reasonably clear today. Let's see if we can get some maltiness off of this. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure it smells that great, but it's there's some kind of chocolate maltiness there. There's that slight vegetable smell I always get off some kind of darker malts, but anyway, cheers everybody. Let's go mild. Oh, yes. Very much. Yeah, very good. Very much my kind of thing. I think it has maybe suffered for the year. I think it's probably the latest one. When I saw that one come out again, I got that one and I picked the other three up alongside it. But yeah, it's not quite it's not kind of a Slurpy Dave kind of quality of pint. It's a little bit of lacing from a big old slurp I took there, so it's not too bad. Oh, you've done a sensible thing. I tried to do that. I did at least get me old picture ID thing done, because as Rasko once correctly stated on a review of a beer of the same name, we don't do politics. But I can talk about the peripheries of it. Yeah, I meant to do a postal vote to save me having bother wasting my shoe leather on the sort of clowns that I would have to vote for. But it's kind of a statutory duty, so I was going to do it. Why have I got a picture of you in your underwear ticking out the form, Mercy? Thanks for that. Yeah. The Scandinavians, I think it's the Finnish, have a term for that. Well, they don't, but they should. It's like pants vote, because they have a term, pants drunk, where you just spend all day in your pants getting slaughtered on your sofa. So yeah, in Finnish that would be pants vote, which pretty much most votes are, even in the great British democracy, which is a fallacy. As Rasko says, we don't do politics. I tried to do politics, but the queue was too long. And it doesn't matter who you vote for, the bastards always win. Just one of many quotes. 7 a.m. this morning. Sorry, I'm not a morning person, but fair play. Yeah, that's the thing. People ain't going to go in the morning. So, like, I went at 5 and it was biz, so I left, and I went at 7:45 and it was biz, and I had to get back for you guys and get back for this. So, yeah. I thought I quite like this mild. It's there's some good residual sweetness at the end as well. Some nice kind of biscuitiness. I always imagine it's going to be somewhere light, somewhere south of a porter. And I do like a good kind of bourbon biscuity porter. And this is what that is at 3.8%. It's it's a mild, it's a biscuity, good wrap of, again, light, mild, chocolatey notes, touch of coffee. And then there's that kind of biscuity malt bitterness at the back, I guess, from like whatever few amount of hops, if any, are in it. Do tell me, Adam, hops in a mild, what would there be? As always, I haven't got the magnifying glass out. Let's have a little read. Who says beer can't be educational? So we do like to learn on this show, and I do like to ask you guys questions so that I can learn, because you know much more about it than I do. I'm just an enthusiastic drinker at the end of the day. I know bits and bobs. 10 a.m, much more sensible time. I was driving up Heathrow Airport at 10 a.m. this morning, but that's an entirely different story for a different show, or not. What does annoy me is people say miles are too thin. That's a good point. I just haven't drunk. I say I like milds, and I do like from this, but I can't. I know about that Sarah Hughes mild. I've had Great Ruby mild. Yeah, I think there is an easy ability to make them too thin because you're drawing down that, trying to get down that ABV. So maybe a little less body comes into it with like less malts or whatever. But I think that is. It's a rounded thinness. It's not thin all the way through. There's no like watery edge thinness to it. It's a perfectly rounded body. I think it is a perfectly well-rounded example of the style, which again, it was fairly popular. It was rebrewed and used to sell out fairly quickly. I never quite got round to it, and I never quite got around to ordering off of Boxcar. I think at one point they did have the dark and the higher ones available at a time, and I just kind of missed out because they always used to sell out, which hopefully is a fairly good indication of a beer. And yeah, you're right, it's a fairly easy drinker. I was going to guess, funny enough, Brambling Cross. I imagine that what would be like a fairly traditional kind of British hop style. Wilmette? Is it Willamette or Wilmette? I don't know. I know I've heard of, but again, don't know too much. I think for a year-old beer, because it's got that darkness and none too hoppy, it's holding up fairly well for a good little beer and a natter. If anybody hasn't seen the side of the can, it does say here dark mild English dark ale, and again that's another style all of its own, isn't it? 3.6%. And what have you guys all forgotten to tell me to do? Such if you need it. Bear with me, I'll do the photos in a minute. Right, let me read this before I forget. The term mild has meant a lot of different things throughout beer history. That's kind of what you're saying, Adam. Here it refers to low in alcohol but full in flavour. Certainly it is dark ale, made exclusively with ingredients from the UK. Fruit, chocolate and nut flavours are expressed from the malt, hops and yeast. Water and yeast have been manipulated to enhance mouthfeel and body. I should imagine like a little bit of calcium carbonate or something like that. Maybe a touch of salt, perhaps. Yeah, as always, it says water, barley, oat. Oh, it's got oats in it as well. That's your body as well coming through, make it thicken it up a bit, I suppose. Does not say what the hops are. A lot of information on the can. I don't know. I would like to know the hops. I'm not going to do a lot with that information, but I would just like to know. Packaged on 12th of the 12th, 22. You probably get a year on that, so I'm only 4 months out. It's not that bad. Right, before I forget, I'm going down fairly quick. Yeah, it has got kind of the sorts of description you might see in a stout. I mean, there's a fair overlap in there. Stouts, dark ales. On the milds, what can you do? I'm just taking a photograph, by the way, so I can put it onto Instagram probably in the morning so that I can remember what it is I've drunk. Just another way of doing that thing just for, well, nostalgic purposes, I suppose. I was wondering if you might pick up on that, actually, Adam. Yeah, is it wrong for mild? You see, that's where we get with like the hype train kind of thing, isn't it? A modern interpretation of that style. Personally, if it brings the body up like that, gives it some softness, some smoothness, I'm kind of not against the idea of oats in any beer. In fact, oats in every beer for me. Just gives that extra sort of mouthfeel, that creaminess, thickness of the body of the beer. I'm sure there's probably some beers where it is very wrong, but right, so there is like a homebrew version of it, a double dark kit. It's Bramling Cross, yeah. So like a stream. He's just like fond of information and knowledge, and like fills in the gaps of, well, quite hefty gaps of things I don't really know. Yeah, although we don't always agree. Thomas, good evening, good evening, good evening. Window Beer Reviews. Thanks for popping in. Got some dark ales here. Cheers. Still, I'm happy with the oats in that. I don't think it's I mean, to be fair, you do get some fairly thin kind of stouts that get all those kind of flavors, coffee, chocolate. I'm still talking about dark chocolate, like dark bitter chocolate bourbon biscuits. I know they're usually more milk chocolate, but not really getting so much milk chocolate. But yeah, and because that's the middle one, that's the one that kind of, for me, is probably the OG dark mild. I know, like you say, you get different regional variations. You get light mild. Around across should be given dark. Yeah, I often get that in some stouts and that, where you say there's that kind of fruit notes, but you're thinking maybe like plums, damsons, that kind of bigger dark fruits, rather than say blackberries or whatever. But I rarely get that in unless it's specifically in there. I rarely get that from the hops. I often I'm still trying to pick out certain like hop characteristics, and I struggle with things that you're meant to get. I think if I search really hard, put that across the palate, there is maybe for me the merest hint of kind of plum. It's more in the jamminess, it's more in the sweetness, that kind of sort of yeah, like a coagulation like you get in jam kind of thing. Ciao, Vito. Thanks for popping in. How say you on a dark mild? That's what I'm on. Well, that's like I say, it's a good drink. No off flavors, nothing like that. Maybe that kind of hop has faded a little bit to give less of the fruit content. Maybe light mild, sometimes known as Pennine mild, is usually associated with the Midlands. Yeah, I was watching, like, because it's like May, and as I say, everybody loves a little bit of alliteration, and it was a big thing. I think Camera kind of put it out to kind of try and raise a bit of excitement about a style that was kind of a little bit unloved for a while. So yeah, let's go mild in May. I love a pun. I love a good bit of alliteration like that. So I will always, if I see a mild, as I say, back in the day, I did see a few, and like Ruby Mild and stuff like that. So it's sort of this is what I was going to say. I was watching. I expect to see quite a few miles this month, and the first one I actually saw was from a guy from the West Midlands. He actually moved up to Leeds, and he actually drove all the way back to the Black Country and yesterday for a pint of mild with his granddad. It turned out to be Banks's mild, so I was sort of suddenly not quite so sure. I forgot to cue that one up because I was going to play a little bit, because it might be interesting you, Adam, as well. It didn't have it off a hand pump. It had it off an electric pour, an electric pump, which normally says to me that's a keg beer, but he was still talking about it being cask ale. So bear with me a second, let me find that one. Funny enough, just as I see that comment, thanks very much indeed, Vinero. You seem to understand beer, great articulation. I understand the rudiments. I would say I'm vaguely aware of some stuff. Yeah, it was a guy in the West Midlands who moved up to, again, the algorithm threw it into my path a while back. And again, he looked like he knew what he was talking about. They brewed a couple of good homebrews, and they've started putting together homebrew kits. And I've already lost it. And it begins with B, and I can't remember it. It's not even there in my watch history. Did I watch that many videos this afternoon? Oh, here we go. Anyway, yeah, they were up in the pub in the West Midlands, and they had a really decent looking pint of Banks Mild, to be fair, I say, off this electric pour machine. Which I tell you what, I would always give Banks as a swerve, but he was talking about it being brewed at Marston, being brewed in Wolverhampton, so it did look really good, proper creamy head and stuff like that, so maybe I'll give it a go. Harry was talking about the other day, I lost interest as Banks Mild is bog water in comparison to Sarah Hughes. Exactly, yeah, Banks Mild. Yeah, it did look pretty good. Maybe you don't really get Banks's. You get Banks's in the supermarkets down here, but I think it's just Banks's best bitter, and I've always given it a massive swerve for that reason. Joe Edibles in the house. Cheers to you, sir. Cheers. This one's gone down pretty well. I'm going to get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it. I want to savour it, but there's another mouthful left. Cheers. I have got 4 other beers to get onto this evening, and I'm still going to try and do it in and out because I've still got to get out again. So I am going to do what I say. I'm going to stick mostly because I've got the banners for it already set up. So I'm going to go down the scale now. That was 3.8% mild. And next beer coming up. So it seems a bit counterintuitive, actually, to go to the next one, which is 0%. As I was saying before, it is a collab with Mash Gang, who have kind of burst onto the scene in the last few years, with arguably the 1 or 2 I've had. Fairly decent no alcohol beers. Again, this is a year old. Also much more lively, quite a bubbly head, carbonation rising up the glass. Like I say, year old again. Packaged a bit later than the dark, 5th of the 1st, 23. So only just a year old, but even so. Mash Gang producing, like I say, 0% beers that you wouldn't necessarily know were 0% beers. Last one I had of theirs, I think, was a cherry chocolate stout, something about death, and it was an immense, thick, cakey kind of beer, yet with no alcohol. Ooh, yeah, not too much on the nose. Not sure I'm picking up water because I just washed the glass out, or because that is so much lack of alcohol. Still got some chocolate in my chocolate notes, some bourbon biscuit notes in my mouth. So I don't know if you need to do a palate cleanse to a 0.5% beer. It's kind of a bit of an anathema. But anyway, cheers all. Thanks everybody for popping in tonight, and thanks if you're still watching after the event. Stick around. Cheers. What was technically a 0% beer. Yeah, so in this country, anything 0.5% and under is included in non-alcoholic. So I tell you what, to be fair, typical to Mash Gang, they have packed a fair amount of flavour into a beer. So I try to cleanse and get that dark, mild flavour out my mouth, but it's back in there. Again, strong biscuity notes, strong bourbon biscuit. There is that, yeah, there is still that kind of slight watery edge. It's not hot water because it's dark. It's like, yeah, it's like blending and diluting bourbon biscuits. Maybe they've upped the bitterness slightly. Maybe those bittering hops are still coming through a little bit. 1% is 0. Right, banana. No. Surely, I've seen various figures for how much alcohol content is in various non-alcoholic things. I don't think a banana's that high. I'm sure like it's 0.8 or something, but I'm not gonna argue with you because yeah. I thought it was 0.5% with zero ABV. That's why all the beers are 0.5%. But yeah, zero beer. Well, it can be. I mean, I was always fiercely against it for a long while because I'm a drinker. I just drink beers. I drink pints. I don't want, like, if I'm going to the pub or whatever. I didn't used to drink at home so much, but if I'm going to the pub, I want a beer. And if, like, I just try not to drive to the pub. Obviously, a bit more lately, it's a bit more about health benefits. Either I can't drink or like diabetes or whatever and stuff like that. So yeah, it has its relative merits. So I no longer go around slagging it off. To be fair, I try not to turn my nose up at it, you know. And when you've got, I mean, we tried. I did with a few times. I drove to the pub, like sometimes on a quiz night. I might try some non-alcoholic ones, like back in the day. That St. Peter's one tasted like the worst bits of a bag of Maltesers, like without the chocolate, or just eating a bag of malt. It was really weird, but they've really banged in some flavour on that one. We've been talking about brewing a non-alcoholic beer at the brewery. We haven't quite got the technique honed yet. We got to 1.5%, but I imagine it's exactly the same malts as what goes into the dark mild, into the OG beer. Maybe they just dialed it down a bit, probably upped the oats, kept an eye on the sugars, and not brewed it so much. It's not as simple as that. I'm fully aware. Figures mixed up. I wouldn't aim to be teaching this stuff, but hot dog buns have 1.8% and a ripe banana is 0.2. There you go. That's why we love banana beers, I suppose. St. Peter's without, that was what it was called. Yeah, St. Peter's without, definitely. I wouldn't say it was without flavour. It was just a very bizarre kind of malty, earthy kind of flavour that I didn't really care for, to be honest. But this one, 0.5%, it's got all the flavours. I mean, it's a bit like that, that 0% Guinness. It had roughly the flavours of a Guinness that had a much more watery edge. It was much thicker and creamy. This has got that kind of robust, mild kind of, I used to call it smooth with slightly rough edges. You've got that slightly raspy brown sugar kind of note on the tongue. And it's sort of, and then rounded out by the kind of sweetness at the end of it. Let's have a quick check. I imagine there's probably oats in this one as well. Thanks to everybody else joining in as well. Please let us know your thoughts. Paul Greenwood, thanks very much indeed. Hope you're doing good too. Hope you got a beer on. Let's have a quick check on the old. My eyesight's so bad. I've got to get the old magnifying glass out, or maybe the discoifying glass. That is not going to help. It's like, yeah, dark on dark. I can just about see there it says English Dark Ale, 0.5%, very mild, that's what it's called. Yeah, I'll put that in the banner. Just cannot see in this light what the rest of that says. It's probably much the same as the other one. I do like the can wraps on this series, Boxcar. Kind of simple, but really effective. It's what I think beer can labels should have. Very clear. Nice little logo. I don't really know what it is apart from a cube or why. I suppose it's a box, isn't it? But yeah, brewery name. Why not have a logo if you've got one? And the beer style. And some of these have the percentage and like a bit more information on the front as well. Change that around for the mash can. Just put the mash can logo in the middle. But yeah, I think that kind of works. If we'll go to Manchester tomorrow, well, spoiled for choice up there. I haven't been drinking in Manchester for some years, but yeah, you've got plenty of choice up there. Hey, Tom and Stu, I'm guessing it's Stu. Like people have trouble with me and Rasko, who's in the chat, so I always put hashtag disco. I'm guessing it's Stu in the chat. Thanks for dropping in anyway. And if it's Tom, love you too, man. Yeah, there's a nice place to drink in Manchester. Cheers, Adam. Joining in with some beers. Lovely New England IPA. Yeah, where are you? And what's everybody else in the chat drinking? If you are, doesn't matter if you're not. I'm drinking a 0.5% beer, which I kind of never thought I'd be doing, let alone live on the internet. But I forced him into it. I forced him into #stew. Cheers, mate. Polly's Nada. Does that mean you're drinking nothing? Or nothing by Polly's? I don't actually know that one. I haven't been back to Polly's for a while since the last set of disco beers. No, I actually had a Polly's. Yeah, back end of last year. I would struggle. I think I would genuinely struggle in a blind taste test if I didn't know that was a non-alcohol beer as to exactly what it would be. Sorry, yeah, 8% double IPA. Good stuff from Polly's. Bound to be pretty decent. Whoa! Stu is steaming in. A banoffee donut pale ale and a peach and raspberry sour in front of you. I don't know which to open first. I would say probably the peach and raspberry sour because the banoffee is going to walk all over that. I think banoffee donut pale ale. I'm sure Adam will tell us. I can't think who that might be. You don't see too much of that. It's got to be Amundsen, isn't it? Or is it Scandinavian? Peach and raspberry sour. That's one of the supermarket beers. I don't think the donut one is. Was that one of the new supermarket ones? I do love guessing games like this, and I do love it. Yeah, people let us know what you're drinking. Brilliant. Dave Wilson's going in with Fierce, and Adam thinks it's Vault City. It does sound like a Vault City thing, to be fair. The Banoffee Donut Pale anyway. That's a good shout. See how I can see how I went Scandinavian, went Amundsen or someone like that. But and there is going Vault City as well. I saw a Vault City in Tesco the other day. I nearly picked it up, but I couldn't. Didn't have room to carry it because I was picking up wine and gin for something entirely different. Here we go. Drum roll. Banoffee is Fierce beer. Bought from Fierce's Bar in Edinburgh. Cheers, Stu, for clarifying that. That was a great guess by David Wilson. Won that round. Good stuff. Do love playing beer guessing games as part. Do love a little quiz of anything, really. Yeah, so no, it was last week. It was just for sale on the bar because we kind of ran out, and can't remember the last time I bought a bottle of wine. I don't really know what I'm looking at there either. I'm all right with beer and stuff, I can tell, but yeah, it was just like get something at mid-range, mid-price, and is it New Zealand or Australian? I went with in the end. Couldn't tell you. Sauvignon, and I went for good old Gordon's Gin, I think it was whatever's on deal on the Tesco card anyway. Oh, what, we saw the beer or you saw Stu? I guess you saw the beer. That's fair. That's not Stu. That's not. Is it cheating? It's just beer knowledge. It doesn't matter whether that beer knowledge comes from 3 days ago or 3 decades. If you know, you know. That's good. You're welcome to participate in my daft guessing games that I forced everyone to play off the cuff because I love that kind of thing. The sour is from Winton Brewery outside Edinburgh. Brewery I found whilst I was away on holiday at the weekend. That's brilliant. I love that thing every week. I like to think I've heard of a large amount of breweries in the country, but there are somewhere approaching 2,500 of things. So every week I see a new one. Believe I'll go and Google that later because I do like to know about these things, see what they've got, if they've got a website and stuff like that, and also see if they've got any disco beers available. I doubt it. But if you're doing sours like raspberry and peach, there's a good chance. So yeah, I'll have a look at that later. That's a good heads up, Stu. Thank you for that. I was looking for Boxcar's website today, but it's kind of suspended because I don't think they've even brought any new beers out. Certainly not this year. I don't know what they're doing. Adam, you might be heard. Have you heard any more from Boxcar? I know it's kind of a London brewery, so kind of a bit away from you, but yeah, I know there was like administration going on whether they got another one pre-packed or bought it out, but they said, they had a problem with their tap room. Like the landlord was on double the rents or whatever, so they had to close pretty quickly. And I guess without a tap room and a place to like shift their beers on a daily basis, you know, apart from delivering beers, cans and that, I guess they sort of either given up or just kind of waiting for the next thing to occur, really. Mr. B, good evening. Thanks for popping in. What's in your glass today? Thought we might like a little bit of this one. A little bit of mildness going on. Mild and Bay, these beers are all a year old, and I'm kind of halfway through this one. Slurpee in the house, another absolute confirmed mild beer fan. You might even like this one, Slurpee. It's a 0.5%. It's a no alcohol mash gang collab with Boxcar. But believe it or not, it has got all of the flavours of a mild, just in that kind of slightly lighter, very strange, very drinkable beer. It's gone down, and you've forgotten to remind me. I'm going to go and do it before I forget. Remind me to do the photograph before I get too far down the thing, and I'll come back to the comments here in a moment. I'll kind of read this one next when I come back. The reason I do that is because I don't know, I'm into that thing of just taking a photograph, putting them on Instagram, and put a hashtag so that when I kind of scroll back through them, you know, either next year or when I'm old and grey, I can remember what it is I've drunk. Oh, that's a terrible photograph in a bad light. I don't like watching myself back, contrary to popular belief. I don't like the old sound of my own voice. So I'll have to listen to that to see the notes and remember it, but I'll do that tomorrow. Can't do it tomorrow. I'm at the brewery again tomorrow, driving stuff about and packaging some beer. Nettle lager in tomorrow. Don't know if I meant to say that, but don't see why not. Got the next version of Nettle Pilsner, very crisp, beautiful lager. Just didn't quite cover the gap. Ran out, but it tasted very good off the back end. Do I want next Wadworth's new rugby-themed bitter, Dirty Rocker, or do I want an American Brown from Elusive? I have a feeling we're all probably going to say the American Brown from Elusive. Haven't been back to for some time. Elusive, but supposedly pretty good beers. Very good question, Nero. It sort of is a weekly show. It's kind of meant to be because YouTube likes that kind of thing, but sometimes life gets in the way and I don't always get to do a weekly show. But the problem I've got is I've got an absolute, well, not really a megaton. There's somewhere approaching a raggy bar full of beers in my cupboard that I've collected over the last, well, some of them go back a couple of years, and I want to get them drunk. And I want to get drunk. No, I want to get the beers drunk. That's why I bought them. I buy beers because I like the look of them and I want to drink them. Sometimes they rack up a bit because there's some beers that I want to kind of take the photograph of, do the social media as much for my own purposes as anything else, because I've kind of got into that habit and I kind of enjoy it. And I was meant to do some videos and they all just kind of stacked up a bit. So I'm now chucking this kind of bash the stash kind of idea where I collect together beers on a kind of a theme, because I think that makes it a bit more interesting, certainly for me. And I just drink through them. And the good people of YouTube, yourselves, And if anybody's watching afterwards and are still watching, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for popping in. With a beer, it's just a kind of, do you know, like 4 years ago when kind of everything kicked off a little bit. We was already on YouTube, but weren't quite doing weeklies and regular stuff. It was kind of monthly videos where we'd been out to beer festivals and stuff. And then 4 years ago, there's a big explosion of this kind of thing on YouTube. And I'm kind of a little bit, I get into a habit and I kind of stick with it. Hence drinking beer for 33 years. But it is what it is, and I keep doing it until somebody tells me to stop. So yeah, it's not quite a weekly show. Sometimes it's twice a week if I can manage it. Steady. And all these lovely people pop in as well. I did think you might like a bit of that. I don't know if you've ever tried the Boxcar Mild from down here on the other side of the correct side of the Thames, North London. I'm Northwest London, that's kind of the correct corner of London, but not for beers. But yeah, I don't know, they were anyway till they lost their tap room. And as Adam said, they're kind of just not really brewing at the moment. They've still got all the recipes, etc. We think they were sold to someone. I think the head brewer, the owner, former owner, stayed on as head brewer, but they were planning to cookery brew and haven't quite got around to it. Started on the dark mild, the main one, just knocking now on the 0% mash gang collab, which actually plenty of sweetness there, plenty of body there, and because it's a mild, it's fairly kind of low alcohol. I didn't get massive amounts of alcohol out of the dark mild, to be fair. See what happens on the double and the triple at 6 and 9, but at 0%, it's actually all right. I still couldn't have that many because it's a darker ale. It's kind of knocking on the door of, as we said before about like stouts and porters, but that's a kind of 0% dark ale knocking up the porters and stouts. If I saw, well, it's mash gang, isn't it? Mash gang, as I said before, the couple I've had have been really decent, so if I was driving or whatever, probably wouldn't mind doing it too much, to be fair. Cheers all. And with that, we're down. We're 2 for 5. Thanks, Stevie Wilson. You got to give it 5 minutes. You have to do that again, because I'm about to go on to a beer 3 of this 5 beer set of Boxcar Mild series. As I say, they're all a year old, so I'm a little bit late with all this. Just catching up with the comments there. Everybody saying hello to each other, chat amongst yourselves. That's good stuff. Whilst I waffle inanely on to some extent. Not sure about Holt's pubs. Might do Marble Arch. Yeah, I've heard that's a good one. Peverlow Peak looks a beautiful, beautiful green tiled pub. I think I've walked past it and never had a chance to go in. So if and when I get back to Manchester, that's something to tick off. I know Slurpy's been around Manchester a lot, so take his comments on board. Smithfield Ale House, don't know the one, but yeah. Oh, Blackjack's another one that's on the list. I keep meaning to. I've got some really good looking, like, again, simple, plain, nicely coloured, good information on the cans. So fair play. Lots of good information there about Manchester. Again, beer education, love it. A 5 beer set. Yeah, it's not quite a set. I kind of collected. I did collect all 4 together. I think they all came out roughly at the same time. Cheers, Stu. Little palate cleanse for you. Yeah, I've got 3 more beers to go, and we're already nearly an hour in. I did say I was only going to do an hour, but once I've started, I'm going to have to finish. So I think the next one is going to be the light mild. So we're back up to 3.8%. This one is a English golden ale. This one I'm a little bit worried about because, like I say, with the year old, who knows what it's going to do. See, this is one that's going to be confusing because so far we've been dealing with darks, and this is very definitely a golden ale. And I cannot tell you why that is. My more knowledgeable friends in the comments hopefully will be able to, because struggling to remember, but it's basically the malt profile, isn't it? Let's have a look. I tell you what, for a year-old beer again comes out. Looks really good. Nice, quite tight, kind of creamy. Fairly thick head. There's a little bit of carbonation rising up there still, maybe. Put it in tribute glass. I think it should be in a proper, decent, good pint glass. Yeah, it looks all right, that, actually. I eat waffles, and I also talk a lot of waffle, because it's kind of how it happens on YouTube, really. Yeah, thanks, Leffy. Mind you, I did say that he talked a load of Balearics this afternoon, so that's 1 for 1. Well, let's call it equals. Yeah, so a golden mild. I tend to think it's just because of the percentages come out at 3.8%. Otherwise, it's a golden ale. What makes it a golden mild? That's something I should check out, really. Nose is starting to clog up a little bit, so I'll tell you what, there's a reasonable aroma on that, though. Much more delicate in the malty profile. My one was for elusive. Did I see somebody do what? Wadsworth? I mean, obviously the correct answer is both. Oh, sorry, I missed a few comments up here. Look, I made a meal out of rugby once. It was really scrummy. Hey! Well, thank you very much indeed, Slurpee. I thought there was a dearth of jokes going on. What's going on? 20 takes on Hulk's bitter and Hare and Hounds. £3.30. Yeah, that video I was watching there, the mild. And was it £5.40? I think he said for 2 pints. 2 pints of the Banks' mild, up near Wolverhampton kind of way in the Black Country where he was. Yeah, there we go. Mr. B's gone elusive, and Dave Wilson's gone elusive. I've gone elusive, but I always think both. Oh, you got elusive second. Yeah, fair enough. I think that'll cover it. Anyway, let's get into this one. See what we got with this golden mild. There's a little bit of fruitiness on the nose as well there. I don't know about you, but it's like a little bit of maybe citrus. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for popping in for Disco Goes Mild in May. Okay. Yeah. That's really odd. It's a bit like white stouts that don't make a lot of sense if you look at them, but the taste-wise is fine. But there's that kind of, there's that kind of golden maltiness, but also that kind of odd biscuitiness and that kind of smooth but rough around the edges kind of mild taste. Oh, here we go. Where's the question? What is a light mild? 3.6. So it is lighter than dark mild by 0.2 by 1 banana by 0.2%. It's lighter than the other one by 1 banana. Well, to us, it's a low in alcohol pale beer where we focus on the malt profile rather than hops. It doesn't make it a mild necessarily. Fruity vanilla notes with a dry biscuit finish, smooth and lovely. Are we going with oats again? Yes, oats again. Water, barley, oats, hops, yeast. Don't say what the hops are. Annoying, but you know, whatever. It's their thing, isn't it? There we go. I asked the question, so should listen to the answer. Disco, probably the same reason larger breweries are calling bitters amber ales. Yeah, maybe a marketing thing with golden sounding better than mild. Yeah, because mild's got that kind of slight tag stigma kind of thing. I can see there was a lot of people talking about that thing with bitters. I mean, I've said that before. I think it's a weird thing to call it a bitter because bitter for me says lemons, and it's not an off flavour, but it's a kind of negative connotation flavour. So they're calling them amber ales because the marketing boys have got hold of them. But Boxcar very definitely calling it a light mild. So that's purely optional, Nero. Don't let's force you into it. But if you are, let us know what you fancy, what you're having. Brown ale on cask in a couple of weeks. Raspberry. That's another one I've got to tick off the list this year. I did say I was going to do it last year. Pop up and see Harry at Ramsbury. It's just a case of the time. It's going to have to be during the week for me because I seem to have accidentally started working at the weekends. I mean, who does that? Oh yeah, beer people. Cheers. Yeah, so I'm getting the fruitiness. I'm getting a little bit of citrus. Not quite grapefruit. So that is more of a. See, I always think about golden ales being like a Belgian golden ale being kind of a hoppy, kind of light golden ale. And see, the nose has started going. Do apologise, me sniffing away. But yeah, it has got that kind of biscuity maltiness on the background. But do you know what I'm getting? Nice biscuits, or is it nice biscuits? I mean, they are nice, but I think it's pronounced nice biscuits. Do you remember them? Because there's a little bit of sugary content going on as well. So kind of more shortbready kind of biscuits, which is not a bad thing. It's sort of balanced in a way. It's got that hoppiness, doesn't go too large, and is not too bitter. Touch of lemon drop in there. I know that's a hop, but I use the term lemon drop when it's not quite full out and out bitterness. It's just that smattering of lemon. I have a variety of different nasal issues, conditions, asthma, and yeah, probably it's kind of hay fever time, isn't it? But I didn't half an hour ago, and I've not been near any plants. I don't have any plants in the room, in the bar here at the Disco Arms. But yeah, so I have no idea what that is. That's an interesting one. It's really different because I say coming off the darks. Maybe I should have started it. I think Adam did say at the start with the golden one and then go up the darkness scale from light to dark. I switched it around, did it differently. Started off with the OG dark mild, then went to the 0%, and now something golden. It's nice though. It's nice. It's not too hoppy for a golden ale. Is that because it's a mild? They reduced like the hop content. It's got, I say, that biscuity notes. That's quite nice. Paul Wimmer just finished Lowenbrow and loaded Leffe summer keg. Saturday Bank Holiday Garden Beers. What? Leffe. I don't know about Leffe summer. Is that a blonde? But yeah, that's a good weekend. Good weekend on the beers. Sawbuck from Elusive. It's the American brown ale. Here's what I was going to do. Just wanted to check. There we go. Yeah, I got this. See the date on that there. It was the 19th of January 2023. So these beers are definitely a year old. You must have. I would imagine they were probably brewed just before Christmas. So all apart from this one's actually the older one. So I got them there from Ghost Whale, a pretty decent beer emporium down in southwest London that I always look at, but don't actually buy from too much. This is probably only, I think, the second order from them. And I kind of only went with this one because if you notice on the right hand side there, 2 cans of a beer called Disco Corner from Howling Hops. That's often what happens when I go to a new place. 4 beers with disco in the name, because I do love that disco collection and madness. So like I say, it's just provide some kind of interest, some kind of extra thing to talk about, to be fair. So I got the 4 of them. January 23, man. Is it me, or has that gone like real quick? Did 2023 just kind of whiz past, or is it just this last 4 months of kind of whizzed past fair quick? And we're in May now. A third of the way through the year. That's really nice. I'm really enjoying that. The brown ale is malt on malt on malt. Ah, that one. Hang on, wasn't that? Oh no, that was cider. When it oats on oats on oats on oats. Bit of caramelized hay. Sounds wrong, but works. So a little bit of smokiness on the hay. I've had a beer with I've actually had a beer with hay, actually smoked hay in it. Very well. Because I used to go a lot of hay around there. Talking dark ales, I'm brewing on Saturday. Oh yeah, may the 4th be with you for Star Wars Day. Got a Star Wars beer to somehow fit in tomorrow. I was going to do that this afternoon. It's going to just go out, you know. It's that Turning Point and Emperor Brewery collab, the barrel aged version, bourbon barrel aged version. I probably won't get it out for Saturday, to be fair. I've got 3 videos in the works already, and another one in the planning stages for next week. Haven't actually put out a video this week. More about that in a bit, actually. I meant to do that afterwards. For the National Homebrew Day in the US, along with Shark Brewing. Yeah, Shark Brewing over in America. I chose to brew the Empire Strikes Back brown ale for me with the grist and hops. Yeah, I don't know. You do tend to go. It's easily to be a stout for the dark side, isn't it? I think people have wandered off. Remember, talking myself about recipe development, I'm just going to pop over here. You know what the deal is. You know why. Thanks for sticking around. But yeah, this is beer free, the light mile, 3.6% from Boxcar. Let me snip over here, do a little bit of photography business, and I'll be right back with you. Should have a little interlude button for this one, shouldn't I? See what the shininess on these cans does make it fairly difficult to photograph because there's a big sheeny shine on it. And yeah, in my terrible lighting, with my bang average camera, it at least does the job, I suppose. A bit too much shiny. I was going to shake that over the laptop and I thought that's a bad idea. Let's just refresh the head on that, and it does refresh pretty well, actually. Again, I'm saying, you old beer bot. That head refreshes. Looks pretty crisp. Doesn't necessarily stick around for too long, though. That lemon drizzle cake without so much on the lemon, I think, to be fair. But there's that kind of fruit note there. Yeah, man. Life. If it gets that bad, I'll end up doing the. I did have vague plans of doing the review live and posting it up on Instagram, but I can only do, well, less than 2 things at once, to be fair. Yes, there was a video out this week. In fact, 7 o'clock this afternoon. Our own dear Rasko of Rasko and Disco Beer Review put out what he claims to be his last video for the channel, and whether he comes back or gets any time or competency to do another video or another live, we shall see. He's welcome anytime. He's got the access codes. All you have to do is upload it. You'd be most welcome. And we'll get around to a beer at some point. But yeah, due to various issues, he put a thing out at Christmas saying he's going to kind of take a back seat for an indefinite period. So today's last video, and I'm quite pleased because I hadn't got any videos out this week, and you meant to do kind of one a week. I've been trying to do one a week. Had a little bit of a fumble this week because yeah, I was gonna do an unboxing video. Then I thought, no, what I'll do is I'll do a live on Tuesday and do it there. and then the delivery didn't turn up, which was a bit annoying. It was from Turning Point after doing a live video with the Turning Point birthday beers last year. The new last week on Thursday, the new ones come out on Friday, and of course I bought them and some other bits and bobs as well. So I was going to do a live, ordered it Friday, expected it to be dispatched Monday and arrive on Tuesday, so I could do a little live unboxing and talk about it. Instead, had to make do with Simo doing a rather excellent review of the cherry bubblegum custard pale ale, one of those series that I would have unboxed. I would have actually probably drunk the apple stout. I still haven't got the box. I could have done it today, I was hoping, because instead of coming Tuesday as expected, it was down for a Wednesday lunchtime delivery now. I was out on Wednesday, I was at the brewery packaging some beer, and so I couldn't be here. And they wouldn't let me divert it, or I don't know, it was DHL, and none of the options on the thing were applicable. So I'm like, all right, no problem, just drop it off around the corner at the shop. I'll go get it in the evening. Now, somehow the package has dropped off the system. It can't find it, and it hasn't gone to the shop. I went round there this evening because it said it was being dropped to the shop today. So, okay, fair enough. It's open and been kicked around the warehouse and lost, because that cherry and what's it called? Screwball Matter Custard, cherry bubblegum custard pale ale. It's out of stock now. I'll probably pick some up from Trembling Madness or something, but I'd just like to know where my box is, please, DHL. Little bit of a grumble. Anyway, fortunately, Rasko yesterday, this evening, 7 o'clock, put one of his last interview videos, and Rasko does the kind of investigative journalism kind of thing on the channel. Spending last year interviewing a lot of kind of beer, brewery and industry folks, and this one was a very interesting guy called David Jesudarson. Apologies, that's what he said in the video, so I've got to get his name right. David Jesudarson, he's written a book about Desai pubs, Indian-run pubs in the UK, largely based around experiences in the West Midlands, in the Black Country, where there's a large amount. And I think he basically, in the book, included a lot of Desai pubs in the UK. Rasko met up with him at GBBF last year in August, and has kind of, again, as various reasons, as I say, not been able to get the video out. So he's finally got the video edited and put up today. Very interesting video. Hopefully at the end of this, YouTube, because I've been talking about it, will automatically link it. It's you can go on to afterwards. If not, if I can do two things at once, I'll put the link in the description at the end. Thanks to everybody who popped in to watch that, including Dave Wilson. Said very interesting video. The guy's a really interesting guy. He knows he's a beer writer, so you find his work about beer industry publications, and in a book about Desai pubs. So yeah, that's all up. If not, just click through to our grid on YouTube and it will be there for you. After this one, you need. That's the bit you need. It is Plymouth Argyle's away shirt for this season. It's my bargain of the week. Picked it up for 15 quid on the end of season discount deals, rather than paying 50 quid at the start of the season for a shirt. Didn't need. Don't like white football shirts. It's all very well playing football with them on green grass, and they can clean them, but they just get so dirty. They're dirty. So yeah, 15 quid. Just make sure don't spill nothing down it, especially a beer. Yeah, bizarrely, I'm a Plymouth Argyle fan. It's probably a story for another video, because it is now a 28-year-old. Another one of my sort of random obsessions, I suppose. I started it, got dragged to a game, carried on. Gonna collect some beers for that. Hopefully get some beers from Plymouth at some point. None of the breweries in Plymouth I found have a decent web dispatch, and I haven't been to Plymouth, sadly, for 5-6 years, for various reasons. Paul's beer reviews. Welcome along. Thanks for popping in, sir. Kitchen Disco launched by Double Barrel today. defo one for you. It most defo is. I've actually got a beer called Kitchen Disco by Kitchen Disco. That was Arundel Brewery. I reviewed it, but another one of the videos I've got to get around to editing is Arundel Brewery's Kitchen Disco. This one is a clementine and hibiscus sour. Quite a light one. 2.5%. That was quite a nice one. But Double Barreled is another brewery that's been on the list out Reading Way. I keep meaning to get around to. So that's a great tip off, Paul. I need the 5th one. I've got 4 other disco beers in the stash. So if I can get that video out and then get on to the next 5 for the next disco day. I normally wait till July, but I'm going to try and do it beforehand. So that's a great tip off. Thank you so much, Paul. And I will be on to the Double Barreled website shortly thereafter this evening. Rasko, various issues, real life and stuff like that. But hopefully, see what happens in the summer. Maybe we'll meet for a pint and we'll get something out. The invitation is always there. Left hand. Is that left-handed giant or left hand in America? I've got a left-hand beer. Got a nitro stout from left-hand beer in the stash. Catching up with the comments. I had a lot of people in today. Thank you very much indeed. I think I missed a comment by Paul Greenwood up there. He's sparking the Lancashire-Yorkshire debate. As I say, we don't do politics. I love both counties equally. Probably slightly on the Yorkshire side because I've ordered a lot of beer from there in the last 4 years. Any plans for the weekend? That one's directed to Mersey, but as I say, my weekend is going to be behind the bar at the brewery, to be fair, for most of it. Probably Sunday as well. I think I'm doing Sunday. Kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's kind of wasn't expecting to be doing that, but where are we? Oh, there was some footing ball. There's no football on. Football doesn't start till 12:30 on Saturday. I'll be watching that. We could still be in a lot of trouble if we don't do the right thing, if you know what I mean. 3 points, please, Argyle. Thank you very much. And do need Norwich to win as well. Sorry, Mark. No, I knew what you were. I was just sorry for you. No, that's not fair. I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody hates Leeds, but I tell you what, Leeds is for me is definitely in the top 5 or top 10 of places to go. When you got all 3 sides of Ellen Road singing, marching on together, it's pretty atmospheric, to be honest. It was something to behold. A couple of times I've been there in the away end. No. How bad can it be? Very retro. I said like big points. Yeah, my bar, a tiny little brewery up in West London called Perivale. Perivale Brewery, up the end of the central line of the town of the same name. I've been drinking there for 5 years and accidentally started, slinging beers there and making beers there back end of last year and kind of enjoying it. I don't know that much, picking it up as I go along, I suppose. I am running very, very behind, mostly because I'm enjoying this beer. I might set that one aside, actually. Finish that off a little bit later. That was the English Golden Ale, 3.6% light mild from Boxcar Brewery, formerly of North London. It is mild May month. So let's get into the big hitters for the last 2, shall we? In a style of beer that Adam tells us straight don't exist. But I've got it here anyway. So a double dark mild. 6.3%. Not massive, I suppose you might say. Might have picked up the wrong glass for this one, but it's one I've got in front of me, so let's go with it. Beer 4. Double dark mild. Here we go into the glass. Oh, I tell you what, that's different to the dark mild. It pours. I don't know if you can see that, but it pours with a kind of Coca-Cola thinness. But again, for a year-old beer, still plenty of carbonation there. Nice head development. Here's one for you, Rob. Put it in a Manchester Beer Festival glass. A beer festival I've never ever been to. I think I won it at a London Beer Festival on the old camera raffle. It's not my favourite of beer glasses, to be fair, because it's a real pain to clean the bottom of it. Can't get my hand in. Paul, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. Please like, subscribe, do any of that kind of stuff if you want, and maybe see you next time next week. Early start in the morning. Fair play. Yeah, have a good weekend. Enjoy Manchester. See you next time. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers. I used to live by the river, down in West London. Yeah, the correct side of London. So to all you East Londoners and North Londoners and South Londoners, beer porn. Best amount of porn you can have with your clothes on, I suppose. Right, so double dark mild, 6%. Tell you what, I'm getting a little bit more of the fruity stuff on that one. There's more like plummy kind of notes there. I said I couldn't get it on the dark mild. Yeah, my first thought is plum. Not massively, but a little bit of chocolate kind of coffee notes as well. Let's dive straight in. Cheers. 6.3%. Double dark mild from Boxcar. Yeah, so basically that yeah, there's definitely much more of those dark fruit notes on that. It just kind of ups the ante a little bit. It's kind of much bigger, slightly more roasty kind of flavors. Again, we were talking earlier about like a thin stout, and that's kind of where we are with that. There's some chocolate development as well, going across the palate. Less on the bourbon biscuits, more like straight chocolate biscuits, to be fair. Like still a little bit of kind of bready, biscuity notes on it. Tell you what I haven't done. That's terrible, isn't it? I just thought I haven't set dressed properly. I don't like my wallpaper, but I'm too tight to go and get it redecorated because, you know, I waste the beer tokens. So I just cover it up with t-shirts, but there's a big gap there. I think that's because it was my Paravel shirt and I wore it at the brewery at the weekend on the bar. So just cover that little gap up with a slightly self-indulgent t-shirt that says Disco from Two Tribes. Well, there's an argument that you've never really watched any football because you're a Spurs fan, Paul, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. It's a sort of used to watch a bit of Spurs, but there we go. Argyle are massive. You're in the right area for rugby as well. That's really nice. Really nice. As I keep saying, a year-old beer, but it's held up pretty well. There's no, I don't think there's any real loss of flavour. Some great flavour development, big chocolatey notes. It's more, do you know what it is? It's more like, I say on certain like stouts, you get a different kind of bitter in notes. You get more like, I don't want to say quality chocolate, just more expensive chocolate, like, you know, the green and blacks, where it's much more dark, bittery chocolate note. And that's what that is. I would struggle again in a blind taste test to say that that was a mild, because it's not. It's yeah, too high a percentage for a mild beer, but it's got all the right flavour notes. I would have thought that would be some kind of porter. I just think when that 9% ones, the triple dark mild is going to end up sitting in stout territory, I think. I imagine, Paul, you might have had a bit of Boxcar. Probably the closest of everybody here to London. Did you ever try the dark mild? That one there. Again, love the can colours on this one. Nice bit of purple there. Let's see if we get any more information off the side. And again, not easy to read. They've gone kind of gold on this reddishness. Double dark mild, English dark ale, 6.3%. A luxurious reimagining of a style we love. It's not really reimagining, it's just up in the ante, I suppose. But yeah, fair enough. Softer and smoother than a stout. I don't know, there's that kind of rough edge, like I was talking about earlier. But there is kind of stout notes there, I guess. Less so on, like I've definitely got the oak kind of note on the previous ones, but not so much on this one. It's more of an out and out. I won't say it's smoother than a stout, but it's heading stout territory. This is an amped up interpretation of that dark mild. Barley hops, yeast, etc. Yeah, so yeah, really. If you like that sort of thing, that darker kind of stuff going on, this is, yeah, very, very drinkable. Really good note to it. Oh yeah, like nice roasty chocolatey biscuit, kind of out and out chocolate notes, touch of coffee. I want to say there's a touch of smoke, but I'm not sure quite exactly where it is. It kind of feels like it's there. I use a magnifying glass because my old bins, I've got bad eyesight in the first place. I need to get new glasses, but I haven't got around to that in the last few years. And my lighting is terrible. And I really, really struggle to read the can wraps, especially on cans like that, which are, I think, are beautiful in their colours. And I love the gold writing, but yeah, I just find it really difficult to read. And I just don't end up like that. So yeah, get the old magnifying glass out. Called magnifying glass after our good friend Raggy from Raggy's Beer Reviews, who flips out a magnifying glass. So he had the same problem, so he could read the can. Somebody called it a magnifying glass. So discoifying glass doesn't really have the same ring, so I'm calling it a magnifying glass too. So what I'm going to do for the last one, because I'm going to try and keep this down. I know. Thank you to everybody who is watching, and if you're still watching in the replay, thank you very much indeed. Even if you're skipping fast forward of all the waffle and just seeing the beer, like I do to some videos, I appreciate that. Dropping in, it's all numbers. Do drop comments underneath what you think about dark miles, what you think about me as a qualified, semi-qualified idiot drinking a beer a year and a day too late, or in fact over a year and a day too late, because due to various time constraints and technological issues and just sheer whatever. It never really worked out. I should have done it in May last year, but I'm going with May this year. I'm going to get the triple out into a glass and see what we get from that. I don't think I'm getting out again tonight. I've got 10 minutes to get down there, and I don't think I'm going to manage it. I'd rather have the beer, to be fair. I'm not going to worry about too much about who wins or loses. So this is the 9% triple dark mild. And as we thought, with these bigger ABVs, they're kind of really holding up pretty good. Again, like big creamy kind of head. I'm going to go straight over there and do the photograph as he pour it out, because it looks really, really good. If you don't mind me indulging my social media, blah, blah, blah. Coming back to Rob's mild comment in a minute, you should call it waffle with beer. I think back in the day, we probably have called it beer waffle. It's not a hashtag that ever really took off for us. We like inventing new hashtags around beer. Beer waffle, one of them. At the moment, I am going with Bash the Stash. Beer stash was something that we tried to go along with in the early days in 2020. That never really took off either. But nor does any of the other hashtags I start, because I'm not that good at social media. So I'm just bending down, that's why I'm groaning. Focus. Yeah, there we go. So that's the last of the photographs. She's only got one reminder, but I'll let you guys off that because I'm so pleased that you popped in for a beer. So there's the double, there's the triple. Let's do a little side-by-side comparison on these two. I mean, it's very hard to tell them apart, is it? Does that look a bit darker? Dodgy lighting setup. Yeah, they both do. To be fair, I've been quite surprised. All of them, I was wondering, you know, how much carbonation loss there would be, how much flavour loss there would be on a over-year-old beer. I guess that shows the quality of Boxcar. I would imagine, you know, that the beers hold up so well. So it's a shame to see them not around anymore, unless they come back. Hopefully they will. Rob from Mr. B's Home Brews and Beer Review says, it's strange as miles are very strong back in the early 19th century and they were pale. Okay, milds became lower in ABV after World War One, and they also became dark. Interesting, they have gone double and triple. Yeah, I think they're just playing around. It's just Boxcar playing around with the styles. Like Adam said earlier, double and triple milds aren't really a thing. Certainly haven't seen anybody else really do them. I think they just had that success with dark mild, and they kind of carried on the theme. Again, slightly different aromas, like more maltiness there, more kind of chocolatey backbone. Nose has cleared up a bit. I'm not so sniffy now. Yeah, a little bit of fruit on there, I think. Cheers. I always forget which side is which. I have to hold it there so everybody can see it, so I can see it, to be fair. I mean, 9%. We're talking Imperial Stout territory. So could they have got away with calling this an Imperial mild? Boxcar still around. We're not entirely sure. We think they are. They've got no website. They've got no distribution. I'm not sure. They've brought out a beer for some time. Certainly not this year. They were saying about Cuckoo Brewing. I believe they've been brought out. But like so many of these breweries, I mean, they was in the place they were in North London. So many breweries around them, so many good breweries, and they were kind of there as well, you know, somewhere near the top of that tree, to be fair. I don't know. I only ever had one other Boxcar beer, and it was also my first and only thus far ever Beak beer, which could surprise a lot of you, apart from the fact that I've openly said I'm not rushing out to the hype of Beak. But yeah, I never quite got round, as always. Oh, there's my other Boxcar Beak collab. Just for the record, since I'm talking about it. Yeah, Summer Wit, again, playing around with styles, kind of a jolly good, solid, lighter, paler ale. I say light, it's 5.8%. Oh, late, not light summer, late summer wit. So yeah, that was quite a nice kind of floral, fruity, refreshing kind of beer. Yeah, my only Beak beer. David Wilson's on triple hop. Belgian beer from Lidl. Lidl's another shop. It's a little bit too far away. I never quite get around to walking down there. I'm kind of Audi because it's only just up the road. That is, yeah, it's a strong beer. Say 9%. Oh, welcome back, Adam. That's all right. YouTube app imploded. New phone tomorrow. Fair play. Yeah, so you'll be in business tomorrow. Yeah, I forget. Is everyone watching this on phone or laptop? Desktop even. I watch most of the stuff on the laptop because it's got a nice big screen with me old dodgy peepers. I can see a bit more. very rarely watch stuff on my phone, unless I'm out and about, at the brewery maybe. In which case I find it harder to participate because the phone screen is much smaller with my clumsy man hands and dodgy eyes. I can't always see a lot, so I tend to watch a lot of stuff on the laptop. I have basically got to just sit back for the rest of the night. I haven't got to be at the brewery too early in the morning, so I'm all right for that. a little bit of a. Actually, cycle in the morning. I see what you're on the pad. Other tablet computers are available. I need to get one of them. I think that'd be a good thing. I might be able to do a little bit more out and about stuff. I was thinking of getting one and doing some lives from the brewery kind of thing. Because, like I say, like the 10-inch screen or whatever it is, or 9-inch screen on the phone, is just not quite big enough to get the screen in and the comments and stuff like that. So maybe I need to get like a little pad somewhere halfway in between. Yeah, well, then you need some other entertainment. And if this is well, if I'm better than national TV. I don't even know what it is, but I can guess by the description that it's awful. Being that I don't actually even own a TV, I watch all of my stuff on, well, YouTube, really. Other beer reviewers and general entertainment. Joe, I've gravitated back to the triple. That is just, it's some booziness. I would have gone barrel-aged porter with that. Not quite thick and cakey enough to be a stout, but yeah, it's definitely some barrel-aged nonsense going on there. Well, it feels like there is, just from that kind of spirity edge, the sugar, a little bit of brown sugar raspiness, but a nice smooth mid palate. A little bit of fruit, a little bit of touch of, like I say, there was more on that one on the plumminess on the initial. Oh man, there is a beer festival every week. We always recommend, talking of West London, Ealing Beer Festival. It's all outside, really big tent. You just have to hope the weather is okay in mid-July. There's no big beer festival in London this year. GBBF couldn't get the venue nailed down because they're having a lot of building works at the Olympia building in Kensington, where it is, and it was bad enough last year when they were messing around with the entrance. And they just, when they wanted to book it last year, they just couldn't guarantee it was actually going to be properly built. So no big beer festival in London. Bunch of much smaller ones. So Ealing is the next biggest, effectively, I think, and certainly the best. Mainly because it's fairly easy for me to get to, and there's a whole world of beers there. But yeah, there is a beer festival. That's what you mean by good. I mean, most beer festivals have got a decent lineup, or you can at least find something, even the smaller ones, to be fair. But yeah, my tip is Ealing. They've changed the. I just bought my ticket actually. They've actually changed Ealing this year. They've changed the entry thing. I think for the better in a way. It sounds good. I paid I think it's 20 quid for like 4 days entry, and like last year I think it was like 16 quid a day on the singles, and I think it was like 30 something quid for the whole week. But they've knocked it off. I think they recognise that there's some kind of thing going on in the industry, is like less people coming out a little bit, and they kind of just about was okay last year, but weren't like, it's not like it's like they're making mega bucks, but they got at least break even, and then whatever goes back into the development of camera and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I've heard different things. I've actually talked to one of the camera guys about it, and it wasn't that they didn't want to try anywhere else. They reckon they did, and because of the size, because they had such a good working relationship with Olympia, they knew what they were about. They knew that they could definitely book it. They put the money on it, and it'd be probably fairly successful or whatever, or at least break even. But a lot of the other venues, just like in terms of price, didn't want to take the risk, wanted to charge up front, and none of the other venues that also were available, because these things get booked up a year in advance. Hence, they were booking up the beer festival a year in advance. But Olympia couldn't guarantee what size of hall they were going to get. And as stories and like ifs and buts and maybes, but yeah, whether I I heard that they tried a load of other places, whatever was available and whatever's going to be that size, because bear in mind the size of Olympia, there's not that many other places that were going to be able to do it for that price. I mean, could have done it maybe the O2, but you know they're like even more corporate, so they would have charged a lot. I don't know. I'm not staunchly on the camera side or what either way, but yeah, they sort of they reckon they gave it a go, so I don't know. But yeah, there's plenty of other stuff. Yeah, I always forget about LCBF because I've not actually got round to going there, because it always is that the one that always clashes. Yes, that's the one that always clashes with GBBF. So that one should have a good run this year, if it's on that same weekend, unless they've moved it. But even so, around about that time in August, it's I would say it's mid-size, medium to large. I wouldn't say it was small. Maybe I'll get round to going to that one this year. Yeah, so yeah, it can be hot and crowded because of where it is. You know, Olympia, big open hall. That's kind of what you want. Yeah, plenty of other regional beer festivals as well. Oi, hold on a minute. Steady on. Been on an hour and a half. Laptop's giving me warning signs. There was one particular lead I forgot to plug in. So let's do that before everybody disappears down the hole in the middle of the screen. Here we go. We have the power. Right, I don't know which one to do now because I'm on both of them. So I'm going to sit back. Oh, that's a big beer. I'm going to have to sit back and really think about that one. The other three I smashed, mostly because of their relative lightness. But these ones, much bigger beers. A little bit of thinness developing now, but they've held up. They've been in my stash for a year. Constant temperature, fairly cool. But fair play to Boxcar. 5 in different ways. All really, really good beers. I'm glad I tried them. Got round to doing them. Thanks to you guys for popping in and chucking all your comments in as well. And if you're still watching on a replay as well, chuck your comments in the comments box below. That is Disco Goes Mild in May. That's my 5 beer set. I've really enjoyed these beers. I really enjoyed chatting to you guys. Thank you so much indeed. I'm going to go and sit back, like I say, and enjoy this double, triple, dark, mild. Should we do a good lineup? I can't get all of them in. Still got some left in that one. That's the double and the triple. Put them in different glasses so I can remember. There's the final lineup. Let's forget which way to turn cans because it's left the opposite way. I've been Disco of Rasko and Disco Beer Review live from the Disco Arms. This has been Mild in May. You guys have been brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. You've got 3 minutes left to get out and vote, so I'm not going to do that. It's been a really good evening. Maybe see you next week. If not, have a really good weekend. Enjoy the beers, whatever style you're calling them, whatever style you're drinking. Yeah, bank holiday, so maybe we'll have a few beers Sunday too after work. Thanks everybody. Have a great one. Cheers and enjoy the beers. Oh yeah, wait whilst I queue up the outro. Cheers all.